Ms. Barrister Muhammad Bello Shehu. I'm representing the good people of Fegi Federal Constituency. I'm from Kano State.
Okay. Recently, generally a few days ago,
Yes.
one of your colleagues, whom we learned happens to be a cordial person, passed away.
Yeah.
We extend our condolences to you
Thank you.
and the entire house. Please, can you tell us briefly what you know about this honorable gentleman?
So, there is a lot to say about Honorable Isa Dogonyaro, but he's an emblem of a gentleman, a good Nigerian, somebody who had his constituents first, the North particularly, and Nigeria at heart. I think just a day before his demise, we cracked a joke on the floor of the house when he was signing his attendance. I tapped him in the back. I said, longest time, where have you been? He said, "Oh, we are managing people." And that has always been the business. And again, we happen to share a few of committees that we are members in. He's a vibrant young man with the family at heart. Actually, I don't have much to say more than this. And looking down in the lane of history, whatever his vibrancy is, you can relate it to the way his mother was. May her soul rest in peace too. She happens to be an activist for women rights and what have you, especially in northern Nigeria. Education, she was a good philanthropist. Likewise, Isa too was. Of course, I know how he has been helping the constituents, especially in the area of farming. I know that has been his passion, that has been his goal and desire. And he happens to come from a rural community where he's representing. I know his philanthropy work on the area of assisting young men in his constituents in the area of farming. It's something that Isa would never leave our memory because it's so sudden. Somebody you've left, or you've met rather, just few hours, let me say, and you just receive a phone call in the morning that he's no more. It's sad. We only pray that his family have the fortitude to bear his loss. And may we that are alive learn from the lessons of his death. We are all but humans. One day, as we struggle for the world, we should also remember that you might leave it any moment. Isa was one person that always remembers that. And when I'm in his office or when he's here, we will never part until when Isa would have to speak about our time is short, both here in the National Assembly and in the world in general. I pray his soul rest in peace. I pray that what he has left behind, may they grow up to know truly and really who their father was. I'm sure his wives know the kind of husband they've married, a dedicated person to the family and, of course, to his work here at the National Assembly. We attended the same university, Bayero University. He was in economics, I was in law, and though a year ahead of me, but Isa was an active young man. For somebody to leave this world at the age of 46, there is a lot ahead of him he could have pursued and achieved for the country generally. We pray his soul rest in peace, and we that are left behind, may we learn from his death, actually, that first, our constituents first, where we come from first, most importantly, we were all created by one God to serve humanity and live. I think that's all I will say about Isa.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So let's
take the...
Yes. Okay, sir. You've been part of the ongoing campaign. Could you get your view on what actually led to this your conviction as a person? for joining the group?
First and foremost, every good Nigerian, apart from me being a parliamentarian, would believe or would see that the way the presidential system of government is running. Let's take the economics aspect of it. The running cost of running a presidential system of government is cumbersome. It's so large and high. We always complain of economic this, there is inflation this, there is inflation that. Now, for the past, let's take, since Nigeria returned to democracy this particular time from 1999 to date, I don't think there's any year that will come and pass without government borrowing money, helter-skelter around the world to finance budget. Now, all this budgeting that we are financing, you are a newsman, you are a journalist, take the budget, subtract recurrent expenditure from capital expenditure. Recurrent expenditure is always 2 times higher than capital. Now, 80 to 90% of that recurrent expenditure goes to where? Running the government. Salary for the president, vice president, their traveling allowances. You come to the National Assembly, we have the Senate, we have the House of Reps, ministers, aides, SSA, SA to the president, and what have you. It's so much to run. Now, if we tell ourselves the truth, to adjust and reduce the cost of governance, there will be a lot of excess to work on capital. Now, with the way this system is now, you cannot have that excess if the system is not changed. Secondly, politically, when a president is campaigning, he goes around 36 states of the Federation to campaign. He spends money. That's another way of encouraging corruption. Where does he get the money from? To hire planes, go around, hire a hall, pay people to come to the gathering, pay them to go back. All those are expenditures that have been incurred, and I'm sure people that are sensible will write them down as expenses. Now, when they win, how do they get that money back? It's a simple maths, it's a simple logic. How do you cut off that? Remove the presidential system. If you want to become a prime minister, all you need to do is go to your constituency, run for House of Reps. Let your party be the one leading. If you come to the House of Reps, you campaign for becoming a prime minister. If your colleagues deem you fit, you become prime minister and head of government. That will save a lot of cost in campaigning and electioneering processes. That's another way to curtail the issue of corruption. Secondly, let's go back to the lane of history. As we had a meeting this morning with former President Olusegun Obasanjo, we tapped a lot from him. Part of it is even changing the name from, let's say, we want a parliamentary system. Why not an African model of democracy? You see, what the white man gave us was what he had. He conquered us, he gave us, and it's what we are practicing. But we have our own system. In Africa, there is no opposition because it's a community thing. As a leader of a community, if you want something to pass through the community, you call the elders of the community and sit. What is your view? What is your view? What is my view? At the end of the day, the supreme view passes. We don't have anything like opposition in African way of life. And in Africa, the system we operate is community-based. You can plan something today, not because you must benefit it today, but because of your children and even the death. Even the dead people, we plan for them. In the white man's case, it's not that. How can we sit as a nation, as a country, irrespective of tribe, irrespective of religion. You don't need to tell me I'm Hausa. You don't need to tell me I'm a Muslim. It's just like telling the leopard it has spots on its body. I don't need to tell you are Yoruba or you are Igbo or you are this or you are that. No. But let's sit as a country, as people, as human beings first. As Africans, let's tell ourselves, how can we get out of the mess we are in today? For example, in Africa, under crude African criminal justice system, a thief that steals in a village would never go to jail because our system is you shame him in the village. Tomorrow he won't go and steal. So we have our own system, which if we had developed to date, I'm just 40. Now, had it been our fathers before me have developed this system, I won't be in the mess I'm in today. If I fold my arms, I've started having children. What am I leaving for them tomorrow? History will be the final judge of our deeds. So, to answer your question, what led my interest? This is what led my interest to join this particular group and campaign for a change from this particular presidential system that we are operating to a more flexible, more cheap system that we can run government on. The system we are running in today is about what I will get from the system, not what I will give or inject into the system.
Because I'm looking at the span of years spent on presidential system, the structures we built. Don't you?
That is why the system, the approach we are taking is not to convince the parliament now, but rather convince Nigerians. Let the debate, let the discussion go out there. You understand? At small beer parlors where men sit and drink their sorrows away. At Tebrim Mishai, where I come from, that is where we sit and discuss our problems. We want the discussion to get to that level. Once the discussion is there, I assure you, we come from different constituencies. If our constituents start pinching us on, look, this is what we want, those members that are yet to join, I assure you they will join. But common sense, we're not talking about this or that now. Let's talk common sense. I want to take development to my people. We don't have roads, we don't have water, we don't have electricity. And my constituency is in the city of Kano. There is no much federal presence in my constituency. How do I get that? The way this system is operating, I won't get it. I can't get it the way I want. But if it's reverse, there will be access for me, there will be access for everybody to tap and get back home. And even the process of check and balance is easier. But under this presidential system, it's red gives or red collect, and you won't know where it goes. This is how presidential system operates. But if we change it to something more suitable to us, to our way of life, to our religion, I think it will be better for us that way. There are so many instances. My late icon, my icon, because Obasanjo is one person that I really admire among the leaders of this country because he has Nigeria at his heart. He has cited several examples when he said, he gave the example that there is no opposition in African way of life. In Yoruba, he called it a name. I've forgotten the name he used, but in Hausa, opposition means abokin gaba. Abokin gaba, the literal interpretation of it is enemy, my enemy. But in Africa, that is not the way. So I actually believe the Senate that are yet to start talking on this, other members in the House of Rep that are yet to join, I'm sure will join with time when the discussion gets a broader, like we hope by 1st of July, there will be a national conference and discussion of it, which most of our leaders, past leaders that are remaining in the country, are going to be part and parcel of. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
structure,
sir.
we